Hello there, and welcome to the Satchel One live presentation. My name is Celia Amran. I'm Deputy Head here at Woodland School.
And my name's Nicola White, and I'm another Deputy Head Teacher here at Woodland School.
Now, what we plan to do today is take you through Satchel One and the centralised detention system. But first of all, I think Miss White is going to talk to you about how to log on.
So firstly, as I said, Satchel One is a new platform that we've introduced across the school. Predominantly, we're using it as a communication platform, but it's also going to be used to share information on home learning, sanction system, and also from a parent point of view, to be able to monitor attendance. Now, we've been working really hard over the last couple of weeks to make sure all of our pupils are logged on to Satchel One, and they will have their own pupil login. So hopefully they've managed to download that app to their phones, or they've managed to access it on a computer. And please make sure you tell them if they haven't that they need to come to the opportunity club in the morning and we can sort that out. But the purpose tonight really is to talk to you about the parent app. Because alongside the pupil app, there is a parent-friendly app where you can access some of this information, or you can use the login to log on to the computer. Now you should have, so year 8, 9 and 10 parents would have received an email back in the summer term, and I know a lot of parents started trialling that at that point. Now year 7 and year 11 parents would have received a letter last week with details about how to log on to that platform. And you simply need to log into the app or log onto the website as listed on the letter, enter the details, and that should allow you access to your child's profile.
Okay, so I'm going to speak to you really about Satchel One and explain that Satchel One is our centralised sort of communication platform for parents and pupils. It has our home learning on there as well as our detentions. In the future, we've got plans to investigate the opportunities to use praise and rewards on Satchel One. But right now, I'm going to talk you through the detention system. Okay, we at Woodland School we're running a centralised detention system. This is brand new this year. We trialled it last year for a half a term, and we're now in a place where we're full steam ahead across all year groups. Now, just so that we're aware, there are 4 types of detentions that we run. We run a 15-minute detention, a 30-minute detention, 60-minute detention, and one 20-minute detention. Now, these detentions are set consistently and swiftly using Satchel One. You'll get notifications for that, for those detentions. Now, every type of detention will run every single day of the school week. Detentions for any reason are set under the centralised detention system using Satchel One. So it's really important that you do log in and you do turn your notifications on. Otherwise, you won't be known, won't be aware of the sanctions that are being set. In the past, where the pupils would have got a detention slip or even possibly a phone call home for the parents, that won't necessarily happen. Satchel One is the central communication platform, and when the detention is set by a teacher on Satchel One, it automatically sends you a notification both to the parent and to the pupil. Now, when we run the detentions, it's the member of staff who sets the detention won't necessarily be the member of staff who runs the detention. Although there will be opportunities for those members of staff to go to the detention and have some kind of restorative conversation with the pupil, but the pupil won't expect to see that their subject teacher or the person setting the detention at the detention. Now, the detentions will automatically escalate. Okay, if a pupil doesn't attend, and that's all done through Satchel One. The escalated detention will automatically be done from Satchel One when they don't attend that session. All pupils have now been shown how to use Satchel One in tutor times and assemblies and so on. And we've also shared the information with all parents in both in July Year 7 information evening and in September's Year 7 information evening as well. All parents and carers have now been emailed their Satchel One login information. So it's really important to make sure that we do log in and switch on our notifications. Also, as part of Satchel One, behaviour points will be recorded. So you'll be in a situation where you'll be able to see and monitor some of the behaviour issues that will happen with your pupils, and those negative behaviour points will be there for you to see on Satchel One. Now, in the future, as I said, we do plan to look at recording positive behaviours and positive rewards in the future. But at the moment, we're not using Satchel One for that. We're going to continue with our ePray system, which is also a web-based piece of software that's available for you. Now, the last bit of information regarding the detentions, if there are any issues with Satchel One or anything like that, where you're struggling to log in and so on, then please email us on Satchel One feedback at woodlandschool.essex.sch.uk, and we'll do our very best to make sure that we answer any queries for you.
Thank you to those people. I can see there are already some questions in the chat, and we do advise if you do have questions as you go, please put them in there and we will aim to answer them. Just as Mr. Amran said, I think that's really key about the praise. Obviously, we are using Satchel One for the behaviour points. It might look negative because the negative ones are being recorded on there at the moment, but ePraise is recording the positive ones as well. So we don't want to feel it's unbalanced because they are being taken care of at the moment in a different programme, and we are looking eventually to bring it over. But it is important, as Mr. Amran said, to make sure you've got those notifications and you've allowed those notifications. That is going to be the way that we're going to share information about sanctions and where your pupils will be. We obviously, for safeguarding reasons, we want you to be aware where your child is and if they're in a sanction. And obviously you can allow the push notifications, so it will come through automatically to you, but at any time you can go onto your app under detentions or sanctions, and it will list those that are coming. Attendance is taken at those detentions, so you will get a notification if your child hasn't attended, so you can keep up to date with that information. Did you have anything to add there, sir?
No. In regards to notification information, any queries about the detentions you get, is it a detention that's been set? It's really important that you contact the teacher that set the detention directly. That's really important. Then also if there are any issues getting access to Satchel One, any electronic, if you haven't got any electronic devices at home, then please contact Mr. Roberts, the other deputy head here, and he'll be able to look at how we can maybe organise a loan of an electronic device in the future for you, so you can access Satchel One from home.
So we've spoken a lot there about Satchel One and using it to record our sanctions, but as we said, there are a range of other features on there as well. So your child's attendance should go on there, so you should be able to view their attendance. We have had a question already about, does the app allow parents to inform schools about absence of child due to illness? At the moment, no. We will still advise that you ring into the school. Obviously, absence is a bit of a safeguarding issue, so we want to know if your child is absent, so we're not looking for them and we know they're safe. So if you can at the moment continue to report it in the normal way by phoning the school number, that would be much appreciated. It is something that we might look to work with Satchel on moving forward to see if that feature or that functionality can become available. But as it currently stands, please just use, as I said, phone the school if you want to report your child as absent. You can, however, use it to look on to see what their attendance is like, what days they've missed, what lessons they've missed. So you are able to view that. It's more really for your information than anything else. But as I said, please feel free to go on and have a look at that information. With regards to home learning, it continues to be here our policies that all pupils across the school, so year 7 to 11, are expected to complete their TASMI quizzing. And parents of year 7 pupils will probably be aware that over the last week we've got them back into their TASMI, we've got them logged in, and all other year groups are aware of that TASMI quizzing anyway. So that still happens every day. They complete their 3 daily buckets Monday to Friday. Show My Homework, which is a part of the Satchel programme, will then show any additional homework tasks that have been set. Because whilst TASMI is very good for memory retrieval and remembering the content and the knowledge, there will be instances where teachers want to set extended pieces or want to set tasks that extend their thinking. So they will be set on Satchel One. It will come through what the task is, any resources, the date it was set, and the date that it's due to be handed in. And it should appear as like a to-do list. So you should see in order what pupils are expected to do. I will warn you, pupils can tick off that tasks are completed. However, I would encourage parents to check that because sometimes they tick it off a bit prematurely, should we say. So it might be worth just checking that those tasks are completed before they tick them off. Obviously, they have to come and hand the task in anyway, but we don't want them fooling you to tell them your homework's done without you checking that. So we've just got a few homework. With regards to homework, is there an expectation of how long children have to complete? It should be ordinarily that adequate time is given to set to complete that homework. And if you ever feel on one night that additional homework's been set in addition to TASMI, and your child's come home and they've worked hard and they've been working, they've not got it complete, if you just send an email to the teacher, they'll obviously use their professional judgment there and make allowances accordingly, but they should normally be given more than a day. Obviously, I can't comment on the individual situations there, but if you email the teacher, they'll obviously be able to pick that up. It might just depend on what kind of task it is. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Sorry, with regards to the set, it shouldn't be set the next day. It shouldn't be set the next day. We want obviously allow, because they're doing their TASMI anyway, we obviously need to allow pupils adequate time to complete that. So if that is the case, on the Satchel, it should say which member of staff set that homework, or certainly which subject set it. And you can look on the Satchel app at the timetable to see which member of staff will have set it, contact them directly with their email address. But yeah, no, it shouldn't be set the next day, just on that question. And as I said, if you've still got questions, please feel free to continue to add them to the chat.
Whilst we're waiting for any more questions, we've got some sort of frequently asked questions that we can go through here. Now, the first one is what happens if my child misses the sanction? Basically, the answer to that is that the sanction will be escalated to the next level of sanction on the next available date. That will all be automatically done when the register's when the register's identified that the child's been absent. Obviously, if there are sort of specific circumstances to that, then that can be unpicked later on with the pastoral team. The next question I've got is, will I receive a phone call or text if my child receives a sanction? As we said earlier, you'll be informed of the sanction via the notifications app on Satchel. So it's really, really important that you have got that switched on and you keep checking that, and that's live. There's a question. Next question that we've been sent across to us is why are we focusing so much on sanctions? What don't we want to reward pupils? Again, we spoke about ePraise. ePraise is a separate rewards program that we use. It's web-based. Works in a very similar way to Satchel One. Every teacher uses ePraise regularly to gift and allocate points to the pupils, and that all contributes to the badge system that works on the separate headings of Arrow, and the pupils work through the bronze, silver, and gold awards on that. So we have got the reward system in place. Hopefully, in the future, we're looking at we could use Satchel One, and we're currently investigating that as an opportunity rather than ePraise. Next question I've got here is what will my child be doing during the sanctions? Okay, your child will always be doing something meaningful and educational. The teachers that are in the sanctions have a pre-allocated set of resources. This will be based on assembly themes or some restorative work, but there is something constructive that comes from every sanction. It's not just a time-taking exercise.
I'm just seeing a few questions coming in. I can see a few people are having issues there logging into Satchel. We'll obviously take note of your name and we'll give you a call and ensure that that's rectified for you rather than sharing it on here. But we'll contact you, and if we need to reset the password, we'll reset that for you and send out those details. Someone's just asked us that app allow parent contact needed to the teacher and send them mail using it. I don't think the phone app does. Again, the phone app doesn't have the functionality that the web-based program does. It might be the case. I think it may be if you log into the web-based program. So if you go onto Google Satchel One and you find your child's timetable, it should list the staff name. If you click that, I think it then opens up like an Outlook box to allow you to go onto that email address. However, if that isn't the case, it will have the teacher's surname code. And I will ensure we'll type in the chat box now what the email address is. So it will be the surname code of the member of staff, and then it will be at woodlandschool.essex. It's coming now. .sch.uk. So as I said, I think the function is there on the web-based program, but if for whatever reason it's not, use timetable to find the code, and then that's the generic email address, that at Woodlands School. It's a bit long, but that's the generic email address once you've got the surname code. So just use that to contact the member of staff.
Now we've got one more question here, and that's what if my child has been set more than one sanction? That won't be the case, because as a teacher is using the app to set the detentions in the first place, if there is a clash of sanctions, the teacher will be notified as they're doing it. so they can't physically book in a sanction at the same time. So it means that the member of staff can then look at when is the next available point that they can set that sanction. So there shouldn't be clashes on the system, and that's half the reason that why we've gone for the centralised detention system and using Satchel One as an app to deliver it.
We're having a few other queries about not logging on. As I said, please feel free. We'll take your details and we'll make sure that you've logged on, or we can find you your login details to ensure that happens. And we have had a few parents say that their child doesn't have a phone. What should they do? It isn't mandatory to have a phone. Of course, it's not. The only thing that we would recommend if your child hasn't got a phone is that they log on to the web-based program once a day, just to check if any home learning activities have been set or if there are any sanctions. So just make sure they regularly check it. We do have a computer room G4, which is available every lunchtime, so they're more than welcome to come down there and log on if they want to do that. But yeah, it isn't compulsory that they have the phone. We just advise, as we said, that they check that on a daily basis, just so that they're up to date with everything going on. And I think also Mr. Amran has already alluded to the fact that if there are any issues in terms of laptops or ICT equipment at home, if anyone's struggling, they haven't got access to ICT at home, if they contact Mr. Roberts, and he is ERO, and I will get that written into the chat box as well. So it's ERO at Woodland School. If you contact Mr. Roberts, he will look into seeing if we can loan any devices to ensure that that could be used at home as well.
I've got another question here. It says, what if I have more than one child at the school? Both children would be assigned to your account. We have issued out instructions to be able to use a code so that both children could be set to your account, so you don't have to have two separate ones.
Please continue if you've got any questions, as I said, to put them in the chat box, and we're happy to answer them. And we will continue chatting for the next kind of 5 minutes, just general about the programme. But as I said, please make sure you do ask any questions that you've got. As I said, we're trying to use as many functions as possible, or features possible on Satchel One app. We did initially, as we say, use it as a communication tool for sanctions, but home learning is obviously the next thing. We are trying to get Tassamai, the reminder to do Tassamai, onto Satchel One as well, because we appreciate it might be confusing that they've got to do their Tassamai without reminder and then any additional. So hopefully it should all be on there. Obviously, the reminder will be on there to do Tassamai, but they will need to log onto their Tassamai app in order to complete that. There is in terms of teachers' emails, there is a list of the heads of faculty. So if you go onto the website, I believe it's under staffing, and if you scroll down, it will say head of faculty, and then you've got the heads of faculty, which are, as I said, the heads of department in those subjects. So if you have a query, you can email them. Alternatively, as I said, use the surname code of the teacher, which is on their timetables, and then it's at woodlandschool.essex.sch.uk. But if you're ever struggling, you go to the heads of faculty as the first point of call.
We've been asked during the pilot as well, and whether children or parents can reschedule the sanctions. Now, the key thing here is consistency. Consistency is really important to pupil successes. We ask parents and children to refrain from requesting these from rescheduling these sanctions. It's really important to promote the notion of the consequences and responsibilities that pupil and the resilience that pupils need to develop over the years at Woodlands. But for example, in extreme circumstances, for example, like evidence of medical appointments and so on, then I'm sure we accept that we do need to accommodate and work with you on that as well.
Perfect. As I said, keep putting in questions. Anything else we can answer with regards to that? We're hoping the home learning is going to help. Obviously, it promotes excellent study skills for our pupils, particularly pupils in year 10 and 11 are probably going to expect to have more additional pieces than perhaps in year 7, 8 and 9. We will introduce that gradually. We're obviously getting them into the habit of doing their Tassamai, but as they go through the school, they can expect to be doing more home learning, particularly because we want to prepare them and set them up with the necessary study skills to support effective revision at the end of year 11. So whilst they might not appreciate it, we are trying to think long term what's going to ensure that they have ultimate success. And hopefully, as a parent now, you're able to monitor it, or at least know they can't come home and say they've got no homework, because you're able to check what home learning that they've been set. And if you're, as I said, if you've ever queried any homework or you're not sure, please do contact our teachers. They love hearing from parents who are supportive and helping them kind of to educate the children. So please feel free to contact them. That's really important.
Okay, I think we'll wait a moment, see if there's any more questions that have come through on the chat. But like I say, we hope the information that we've shared with you this evening has been useful, informative, and I'm, like I say, like we said before, please email us or contact the school. I'm sure we can answer any further questions. But we'll just wait another couple of minutes for see if there's any more questions in the chat.
It is worth noting, someone said the app seems to be working well. Good, that's pleasing to hear. Even the suggestions from tonight, we do want to say that obviously Satchel One is a big company, but we do work closely with their product design team, and any feedback that we get from staff, from pupils, or from parents, we do but go back and say, can this be added, or can the app be adapted in a way to include this feature? Now, obviously, those changes don't happen every night, but we do don't happen overnight. But we do want to kind of stress to you that if you do feel that there are things that could be improved, please let us know. Obviously, we don't create the app, but we'll certainly pass that feedback on to ensure that the product is as helpful as it possibly can do to all stakeholders in our school community.
Okay.
Doesn't appear to be too many more questions. So we're
we
probably going to conclude.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. We'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and hopefully, please feel free to make contact to any further questions or queries. Email us at the school, and we'll do our very best to make sure that the introduction to Satchel One to you guys as parents, as pupils, as smooth as possible.
And actually, in response to the last question, yes, we do intend to. As I said, we put a lot of effort in now into launching it across our school community. We'll continue to try to work with the Satchel team to make it the best platform it possibly can be. But our aim around this all was trying to get as few as possible as apps for parents to have to use. Unfortunately, there isn't a one platform that does everything, but we're working to try to minimise it because we want you to be involved on your child's journey at Woodlands, and we want to all work together to ensure they get everything they can out of us, and obviously they're set up for success in later life. So yes, but again, thank you for your time this evening. Thank you for your support.
And good evening. Take care.
Good evening. Bye-bye.